Some legends are remembered for stats, others for championships. But Michael Jordan, he was remembered for fear. Opponents didn't just prepare for him, they dreaded him. Coaches would spend sleepless nights drawing up defensive schemes that looked brilliant on paper, only to be shredded by sunrise. Veterans admitted they'd toss and turn the night before facing the Bulls. And while they prayed for rest, Jordan didn't need it. He could stay up late smoking a cigar, sip on a drink, roll out of bed the next day, and casually drop 40 on the world's best athletes like it was nothing. Jordan wasn't chasing greatness, he was redefining it. In the playoffs, he had more appearances than Kobe, KD, LeBron, and Wilt combined. He logged more 40-point playoff games than Kareem, Iverson, Steph, and D. Wade put together. And here's the stat that reads like a myth. Michael Jordan had more 40-point nights than games where he scored under 20. Think about that. His bad games weren't even average. But numbers only tell part of the story. What separated Jordan was his aura, the godlike presence that turned even confident rivals into nervous wrecks. His trash talk was brutal, his stare was unshakable, and his competitive fire was unmatched. He didn't just beat opponents, he dismantled their confidence. And when everything was on the line, Jordan owned the moment. 28 career game winners, 7 in the playoffs alone. The last shot, the final possession, that wasn't pressure for him. That was home. And some of those shots weren't just jumpers, they were daggers that ended dynasties, silenced entire arenas, and ripped the soul out of rivals who thought they had him cornered. And while fans saw the highlight reels, opponents saw something far scarier. A man who could dominate every facet of the game. 9-time first-team All-Defense, the all-time leader in blocks by a guard. 6 seasons with over 200 steals. Still a record. In '89, when his coach lost the starting point guard, Jordan stepped in, logged 10 triple-doubles in 11 games, and averaged 30 points, 11 assists, and nearly 10 rebounds. He didn't just score, he controlled the game. Between 1991 and 1996, he won 13 straight playoff series, averaging over 30 points per game. He retired with 6 championships, 5 MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, and an undefeated finals record. But perfection has shadows. Jordan was a relentless shooter, leading the league in attempts 9 times. He had off nights. He'd pushed teammates to the edge with his intensity. And for all his dominance, the 1980s forced him to face failure after failure before he learned how to win. So, how good was Michael Jordan really? Was he truly the greatest, or just the most celebrated? To answer that, we start at the beginning. A skinny kid from Wilmington, North Carolina, who was never supposed to make varsity, let alone become the face of basketball for eternity. Michael Jeffrey Jordan was born in Brooklyn, New York, before his family moved to Wilmington, North Carolina. He was the 4th of 5 children, raised in a working-class household where discipline and hard work weren't suggestions, they were survival. His father, James, a mechanic, gave him toughness. His mother, Dolores, gave him structure. But if you looked at the Jordan family tree, you wouldn't have seen greatness coming. Nobody in the family was taller than 5'9". His older brother, Larry, was 5'8", but athletic enough to dunk, and for years it looked like he would be the star athlete of the family, not Michael. As a sophomore, Michael was only 5'10" and painfully thin. He tried out for Laney High's varsity basketball team and got cut. Imagine the most competitive athlete in history being told, "You're not good enough." That rejection lit a fire that never went out. Jordan cried in his room, but his mother snapped him out of it. Stop sulking or get to work. So Michael worked. Hours alone in the gym, thousands of jump shots, running drills until his legs burned. And then nature blessed obsession with growth. By his junior year, he shot up to 6'3". Eventually, he reached 6 foot 6 inches. Now, the quickness and leaping ability sharpened in his driveway belonged to a body built to dominate. By senior year, Jordan averaged 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. He was suddenly on college scouts' radar. But he wasn't seen as the next big thing. North Carolina legends like James Worthy and Sam Perkins had more hype. That's when Dean Smith, the legendary UNC coach, saw Michael's mentality the hatred of losing, the raw hunger, and gave him a chance. At UNC, Jordan was the third option as a freshman, behind Worthy and Perkins. He averaged just 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Nothing screamed future GOAT until the 1982 NCAA championship. Against Georgetown, with Patrick Ewing protecting the rim, the Tar Heels needed a bucket in the final seconds. Dean Smith called the play for a freshman, Michael Jordan. With ice in his veins, Jordan rose from the corner and hit the game winner. North Carolina won the national title, and Jordan later said, "That's when my name went from Mike to Michael." That single jumper shifted his confidence forever. Over the next 2 years, he became a consensus All-American, averaged 20 points, and in 1984 was named Collegiate Player of the Year. Still, scouts questioned if he could dominate the NBA. His numbers weren't gaudy like Kareem, Bird, or Maravich in college, and the NBA of the 1980s was ruled by big men. So, in the 1984 NBA draft, Houston took Hakeem Olajuwon first. Portland passed on Jordan for Sam Bowie. That left Chicago at number 3, and with that pick, history was born. From his very first NBA game, Jordan was different. In just his third outing, he scored 30 points. By his ninth, he had 40. He ended his rookie season with 28 points, 6 rebounds, and nearly 6 assists per game on over 51% shooting. He was Rookie of the Year, and more importantly, he was already the most electrifying player in the league. But it wasn't just numbers, it was how he did it. His dunks weren't dunks, they were gravity-defying ballets. Defenders jumped with him, only to crash back to earth while Jordan still floated. His tongue wagging in midair became as iconic as the points themselves. In his second season, Jordan broke his foot and missed most of the year, but returned in time for the playoffs. Against the legendary Boston Celtics, he dropped 63 points in Game 2, a record that still stands. Larry Bird famously said, "That wasn't Michael Jordan out there. That was God disguised as Michael Jordan." By 1987, Jordan averaged 37.1 points per game, the 5th highest mark in NBA history. He was scoring against double teams, against hand-checking, against defenses built solely to stop him. He was unstoppable individually. But the Bulls weren't winning. From 1988 to 1990, Detroit's bad boys stopped him cold. With their infamous Jordan rules, they battered him every drive, turned basketball into a fistfight, and eliminated Chicago 3 straight years. Critics called Jordan selfish, a stat chaser, the black hole of offense. And they weren't entirely wrong. He often shot through double and triple teams. He could pass, but he wasn't magic orchestrating. By 1990, Jordan's playoff record was 25-29. For all his greatness, he wasn't a champion. Yet. That's when Phil Jackson entered the picture. A former Knicks player turned coach, Jackson was unlike anyone Jordan had ever been around. He preached Zen meditation, balance, and teamwork. But most importantly, he believed in Tex Winter's triangle offense, a system designed to spread the floor, share the ball, and punish defenses for overcommitting. At first, Jordan resisted. He wanted the ball in his hands, but Jackson convinced him that trusting his teammates would make winning inevitable. Slowly, Jordan bought in. At the same time, Scottie Pippen transformed from a lanky project into a superstar. By 1990, Pippen was one of the best defenders in the league, capable of locking down multiple positions. His wingspan, anticipation, and selflessness made him the perfect complement to Jordan's fire. Jordan could dominate, but Pippen filled every gap, playmaking, rebounding, and guarding the opponent's best scorer. Together, they became a two-headed monster. In 1991, everything clicked. Chicago swept the Pistons. Isaiah Thomas and Detroit walked off without shaking hands, a bitter acknowledgement that the throne had changed hands. Next came Magic Johnson's Lakers in the finals. Jordan averaged 31 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals on 56% shooting. He delivered his famous mid-air hand-switch layup in Game 2, a play still replayed today. The Bulls won in 5. Jordan finally had his ring and his first Finals MVP. In 1992, he destroyed Clyde Drexler and the Blazers with the shrug game, hitting 6 threes and a half. Chicago repeated. That summer, as the centerpiece of the Dream Team, Jordan became a global icon. The world now worshipped basketball. Opponents from Spain, Croatia, and Angola all admitted they were starstruck just sharing the floor with him. In 1993, Charles Barkley's Suns had the best record, and Barkley won MVP. But Jordan answered with 41 points per game in the finals, the highest finals average ever. In Game 6, he passed to John Paxson for the game-winning three. 3 straight championships, 3 finals MVPs. Jordan was on top of the world. And then it all collapsed. His father was murdered in July 1993. The grief broke him. He said the love for basketball was gone. That October, he shocked the world by retiring. Jordan signed with the Chicago White Sox to pursue baseball, fulfilling his father's dream. He played Double-A ball with the Birmingham Barons, hitting .202 with flashes of potential. But in 1995, with baseball on strike and the NBA calling, Jordan returned. On March 18, 1995, he released a 2-word press statement, "I'm back." Days later, he dropped 55 points on the Knicks. The King had returned. But in the 1995 playoffs, the Bulls lost to Orlando. Critics said he wasn't the same. Jordan took it personally. He rebuilt his body, and the Bulls reloaded, adding Dennis Rodman, the league's most feared rebounder and defensive force. Rodman was chaos in human form: tattoos, hair dye, and unpredictable behavior off the court. But on the hardwood, he was a genius at disrupting offenses, grabbing every loose ball and getting into opponents' heads. Alongside Jordan and Pippen, Rodman turned Chicago into a defensive fortress. They also had Steve Kerr, a sharpshooter who became Jordan's trusted release valve in clutch moments. And Toni Kukoc, a versatile forward from Croatia who could stretch defenses with his shooting and passing. This wasn't just Jordan carrying a team anymore. The Bulls had evolved into one of the greatest rosters ever assembled. The 1996 Bulls went 72-10, the best record in history at the time. Jordan won MVP and Finals MVP, defeating Seattle. In the locker room, he sobbed, clutching the trophy, his first without his father. In 1997, against the Jazz, Jordan played the legendary flu game, 38 points despite a fever and exhaustion, collapsing into Pippen's arms. Chicago won in 6. In 1998, with the dynasty crumbling, Jordan saved his masterpiece for last. Game 6, Utah. Down 1 with seconds left, he stripped Karl Malone, then hit the iconic jumper over Byron Russell. The shot, his 6th title, his 6th Finals MVP, a perfect 6-0 in the finals. That's how most remember Jordan. Not the Wizards years, not the comeback experiments. Utah, 1998. Hand in the air, standard of greatness set forever. His numbers are absurd: 30.1 points per game career average, 10 scoring titles, 5 MVPs, 6 Finals MVPs, 9 All-Defense selections, highest playoff scoring average ever at 33.4, more 40-point games than games under 20. But his impact went beyond numbers. Kareem had longevity, Wilt had cartoon stats, LeBron has versatility and time. But Jordan had perfection under pressure. 6 finals, 6 rings, 6 Finals MVPs, no Game 7s. And beyond basketball, he globalized the sport. The Dream Team made the NBA international. Air Jordans became cultural currency. The Jumpman logo became bigger than franchises. Jordan turned basketball into a global religion. His shoes weren't just sneakers, they were status symbols. In some cities, people risked their lives for a pair. What truly separated him was obsession. He was ruthless, sometimes cruel, but always locked on winning. Teammates said he pushed them to places they'd never reach without him. Opponents said his trash talk broke them mentally. Reggie Miller once said trash-talking Jordan was like writing your own death sentence. Gary Payton, one of the best defenders ever, admitted that guarding Jordan was like fighting against inevitability. He'd wear you down until you cracked. split his career into 3 parts: the scoring machine, the champion, the dynasty closer, and each would be enough for the Hall of Fame. Together, they form the most complete resume in sports. Even in Washington, years past his prime, he dropped 40 at age 40. His competitive fire never died, and in his Hall of Fame speech, he reminded the world that his edge, the grudges, the chip on his shoulder, was still alive. And decades later, The Last Dance documentary revealed that edge to a new generation, but it also reignited controversy. Horace Grant blasted the doc, saying Jordan exaggerated stories and threw teammates under the bus. Scottie Pippen openly criticized it, claiming it glorified Jordan while downplaying the sacrifices of others. Even Steve Kerr admitted Jordan could be a bully, punching him in practice to test his toughness. The world saw the greatness, but his teammates lived with the cost, being berated, pushed, and sometimes humiliated to reach the summit. Yet almost all of them, even through resentment, admitted they wouldn't trade it, because Jordan's obsession turned them all into champions. And that's the thing. You can debate stats, you can debate resumes, but you can't debate aura. When Jordan stepped on the court, everyone knew who was best. Teammates knew it, opponents knew it, fans knew it. Kobe Bryant called him Black Jesus. Allen Iverson said facing him was like seeing God. So when people ask who's the GOAT, the numbers, the stories, and the fear all point one way. Because when the game's on the line and you need one player, one game, one shot, the answer hasn't changed. His name is Michael Jordan.